Hello, I'm Al Ray, Director of National Warehousing Operations for Mahaffey, USA. Got Rex Burke here. Rex is our National Repair Manager. And today we're going to be doing an instruction video on the proper techniques in installing a overhead door. We've developed a new bracket system that will reduce the installation time 30 to 50%. And it's a proven system. It's utilizing this bracket here, and it attaches to the Keeter system on our A-frame structures, any of them utilizing the Keeter system. Eliminates the need for drilling and easy to install. In this session, we will review the complete installation process, the required tooling, examining the mounting surfaces and ground conditions, leveling the door guides, raising and attaching the door guides to the gable uprights, installation, and tensioning. First and most importantly, ensure you have the proper PPE, which includes hard hat, steel-toed boots, gloves, harnesses for the man baskets, and any site-specific requirements for your particular site. Your construction manager can advise you of those requirements. With that being said, let's go to Rex and start the installation process.
Welcome to garage door installation. As of right now, y'all have installed a structure and you have a garage door in a box. So your step one would be to find your box, open your box, and take all your parts out of your box. You'll have two guides, one garage door, and a door header. While removing your door from your box, you will note that there is a hardware bag that will need to go with your install. It will have your door stops, your carriage bolts to install your door to your guides. Your garage door rails will be mounted to your gable uprights. Here, as you can see, are these brackets that Al was discussing with you earlier. First thing you're going to do is you're going to be removing the nuts, washers, and plate so that you can install this to your gable upright. As you will see a little bit later, we're going to be putting these back on. So you're going to need these to be in a bucket or something because you're going to need them later. Put them in your man basket. We'll move on to installing a rail to a gable upright. As we discussed earlier, the bracket system that we're going to be using to install these garage doors to our frame is made to attach to our Keeter track that is built into the frame. I will demonstrate how this process works with our frame. So as you've taken this plate off earlier, you're going to be reinstalling this Keeter track on both sides. You're going to lock this one into this side Keeter track. This one will go in this one, and you're going to reinstall your bolts, washers, and nuts, like so. And then you would tighten these down, alleviating this from being able to move. Now this bracket will already be mounted to your door guide. So at the point that you've bolted this up, your guide will already be there. So for the install of the guide, obviously you're going to have a forklift somewhere. What we're going to do is we're going to get us a strap attached to our guide, and we're going to attach it to our rack of our forklift so that we can pick it up and attach to our upright. So now that we have our guide standing, here's your bracket mounted to your guide, which will now be put into the keeter track. So, as you saw, we've got our bracket mounted now. We've got our guide firmly attached to the bottom. From here, we have our man in the basket above me, who is now going to install the same bracket system to fully secure this to our gable upright so that we can remove the forklift from being attached to it. So now that we have our guide firmly attached to our gable upright and our forklift is now disconnected, we now can remove the strap and finish installing our brackets to complete the guide install. If you'd like to take it over from there. So now that our guides are installed, the next step is to install the door header, which will be attached to the double brackets at the 16-foot mark up at door level. So we now have our door header. We're fixing to install our door header. We're going to pick it up, set it across our basket, and our guys are going to take them up there and mount it to our door header brackets. So while inserting your garage door header, on both ends of your door header, you have a locking key. This is your locking key. Once you've inserted your door header into your bracket system, please install your locking key. This is what prevents the door header from being able to come out unexpectedly. So now that our guides are mounted, our door header's up, we need to make sure that all our guides are plumb and ready to accept the door. On a 16 by 16, the outside to outside measurement is 200 inches. On our 14 by 16, the outside to outside is 176. So you just need a simple level, and we check to make sure that we are plumb on both sides and 200 inches apart. Now we know that we're ready to install a door. Here's our door curtain and drum. When you get your door, you'll have to assemble the chain operator, which is just 2 bolts and a chain, by attaching it to your side plate. That way, once you've got it up in the air, you have control of opening and closing the curtain with your chain operator. And there's no sense in doing this in the air when you can do it on the ground and you're not dealing with things over your head. We have prepared our drum and curtain sitting on our pallet. We are strapped to our pallet as well as being strapped to our forklift. From this point, we're going to raise this and attach it to our guides with bolts through these 3 holes. This is the same process for our 16 by 16 and our 14 by 16. Let's install a door. Now that you're ready to install your door, make sure that your communication between your man basket operator and your forklift are clear directions. Your forklift operator is going to need to be able to put your door where you need it, whether it be up, down, left, right, forward, or backwards, to line your bolts up properly. So before your door and drum comes up here, you need to remove this gate, which will allow your plate to slide in here so that you can get the bolts in place. While installing the side plate on the tensioner side of the door, you will need to remove the tensioner pin so that this plate will move freely while you're installing the bolts. Hand this to you. Once you've tightened your bolts up, we're now free to release the forklift from the door. We can take the straps off. He now can come down. We can remove the pallet, and we'll keep going with the door install. Now that we have our curtain and drum installed, we need to put our chain hook or holder, whatever you want to call it, into place. And that gets mounted to the side of your upright. Right here, this is your chain operator side of your door. Simple to do. It's got 2 holes, 2 screws. We're going to screw it to the gable upright or wherever you're putting this door. Now that we have our chain hook installed, we now can attach our chain so that the door can be tensioned and stay in one location without moving. Now we have 2 versions of this chain hook. We have the one that, like what I just installed, the other one looks like a fishing hook that you're going to turn upside down so that when you need to tie your chain up, it hooks through a chain link. Make sure that you're locking the chain closest to the outside wall. If you lock this chain closest to the inside of the building, it will allow the drum, as you put tension on it, to pull the chain up. Now that our chain is installed and locked, this is your tension bar. This is what you use to add tension to the door. Depending on age of door, height of door, width of door, is going to determine how many turns you're going to install on the door. We will start with 2 full turns on our tension wheel. Once you get that tension set, then your curtain will be allowed to go up and down, and you might have to add or subtract a little tension to make your door flow freely and smoothly. You do not want your door to fall fast, nor do you want it to go up without you having to physically pull the chain. That'll create damage if the door will free fall to the ground. When it hits the ground, it will damage our door. Same thing. If it will go up by itself, it will damage the door. So you'll have to play with how you tension the door and how many turns, depending on what location you're at, what door you're putting in, or age of door. Installing your door tension, if you need to subtract tension, it is a counterclockwise motion. There are multiple holes in your tension wheel, so you can add small amounts at a time. If you need to increase tension, your door's coming down too fast, that means you would increase tension. You have multiple holes to turn clockwise to add tension to the door. It is very important to make sure that that pin is put into the hole all the way before you release the bar that you're using to add tension. He was using the bolt to keep count on where he started and how many turns, depending on how many times the bolt passed him. You could use a Sharpie and put a mark, take a pencil, do whatever you need to do to keep up with where you started and where you ended. Note the key will need to be reinstalled into that pin, which will safely lock the tension wheel into place. Now at this point, we can unstrap our curtain, we can put our guide doors back on, and our door now will be ready to open and close and check for proper tension. So as you can see, now that we have the tension done, straps off, we're installing the gates on the tracks. That is what locks our door curtain into our wind lock system. That's 2 bolts that we removed earlier. Now these bolts can be installed in either direction, but as you probably noticed here, our bolts are from the inside out, which makes it easier for the impact to be used to tighten the nuts down. While they are here, they can also install the door guide lock, which prevents the curtain from going back up and wrapping around the drum. This will keep the tension from pulling the door and free spinning in the open position. This is where the door stops. So this is an example of the guide gate where your curtain and your wind locks will be. This is what they were putting in to hold the curtain in place. Hence the 2 bolts that you have to reinstall. This is the door stop. This is what keeps the door from going back up after your tension is installed while the door is in motion. So you close the door, when you go back open with the door, this with a screw is what stops the curtain from going back around the drum and free spinning with the tension on the door. So now we've installed the last bracket. The curtain is now in our wind locks. We have brought our curtain down into our guides. So now our door should be operational. The only thing left to do is operate your door up and down. See if you need to adjust your tension up or down. Once you've ran your curtain up and down and you're satisfied with your tension, after you have closed the door, there's one last thing to do before you get to go home today. There is a set screw at the top on the chain operator side that you'll have to tighten. What this does, it keeps the door from walking back and forth. So you do not want your door to move left and right, because what that does, it will put the door in a bind on your wind locks. So make sure that you tighten the set screw. Note as you're moving this door, this chain, you want to use both hands. This is your braking hand, this is your closing hand. You do not at any time want this door to freeze fall to the ground. By applying pressure to my left hand, I can stop the door. So after letting this door down, as y'all noticed, I didn't have to work really hard. I had more tension trying to keep the door from free falling than me having to pull it down. So this door actually needs some more tension before we are complete with the install. So we will be adding probably another half a turn, and we'll play with it to get this door to where it won't just come down on its own. The last thing you want this door to do is for the end user to start closing the door and he doesn't have to do anything. It just free falls. It's a feel kind of thing. You'll know that I don't have to pull hard here. I was doing more braking here. As y'all saw when it was coming down, I'm not doing this. You need to be able to close the door. You don't want it to freely come down. It needs a little pressure as it comes down. Same with going up. If you start up with the door and this chain just takes off, you have too much tension. You need to release some. Here we are. We have installed our door. Our tension is set. Our set screws are tight. Our guides are working perfectly. So, just so y'all know, our door here at the Mahaffey warehouse might not be the prettiest door that y'all are going to be putting up for our customers all over the United States. This door header can be located in any location. It is adjustable to the height of your location, as well as if you need to cut guides to bring your 16 by 16 door down to a 12 by 16. Totally fine. These are completely customizable to your location. That is, the door header can go all the way up to 16 foot or can come down to whatever your gable end is. Like our structure here, we could have brought the header down to the 12 foot mark, but for the sake of the video, we put it at an easy location for us to deal with here. When you're preparing your site and you're checking your grade, you might also need to cut one guide and not cut another so that your door stays level across the top. You could cut inch or feet. If you start cutting a lot, there will have to be a special piece added to the bottom of the door so that obviously you're not open on the left and closed on the right. We have done that in the past. And that really concludes our door operation and install. If you have any questions, feel free to call myself or anyone in the shop dealing with our garage doors. Randy, he's typically a good person to call. He can answer most any question that you run across. Al?
We hope you found this video helpful. We are planning on doing some additional videos in the future. If you have any ideas about a training topic, please let us know and we'll give it some consideration. And always remember, work safe. Thank you.